Hello YouTube, Dave here again. Before I get into this video, I just want to take a moment to thank everyone for their support, their kind words, and their understanding. When I just sort of made an announcement that I need to take a little bit of a break, I didn't end up taking as much of a break as I originally planned. I did find that after about a week, I started to really miss making videos, so I kind of wanted to get back into that. But I've also decided that once every couple of months, I do plan on taking a full week where I just completely unplug from YouTube and from, try to stay off of like social media and other stuff like that as much as possible because it just mentally exhausts you after a while. But yeah, I'm back and looking forward to getting back into to working on some videos. So this is just going to be a simple pickup video. There've been some things that I've added to my collection over the last couple of months. Some of these I have actually shown on video before, but not in an actual like dedicated pickup video. I do like to do these videos because it helps me sort of chronicle roughly when I added certain items to my collection. And just generally, I enjoy watching other people's pickup videos, and people seem to enjoy, my videos when I do the pickup videos. So that's what we're going to do today. The first thing I want to show here, I don't know if I've actually shown this on video before or not, but this is my new Dungeons & Dragons mug. I got this from GameStop, EB Games. It's all GameStop now, but I call it EB Games. The mug that I was using, unfortunately, the handle broke on it, which really sucks. It's not broken off, but it did crack. So I needed to get a new one, and they had this at EB Games. It has the old Menser basic like Beckme red box art on there. So yeah, really, really cool. I did drink out of it not that long ago, so I'm not going to show the other side that I was drinking from. But yeah, really, really cool mug. And the only thing I really wish that they would have done was use the original Beckme D&D logo, like the basic expert logo. But, I get that that's like the current version, so they kind of want to have that for branding. But it's still a cool mug nonetheless. Iconic artwork. Larry Elmore, one of the all-time greats. All right, so the next few things that I have to show are items that I have picked up, or not picked up, that have been sent to me for review purposes. Or just to do videos to showcase them so that you raise awareness of the fact that these are out here. The first few are from Paizo, and the first one we have is the Starfinder Space Station Promenade flip mat. And I love these flip mats. Like, they're some of my favorite accessories. The flip tiles have kind of overtaken them a little bit just because they're smaller, so it's easier to work with a limited space on the table. But I love these as well. And you've got the the area like just for people to stroll through, which has some restaurant areas, some sitting areas. And then you also have like a marketplace on the promenade. So really cool map. These things are awesome. So yeah, happy to have that. They also sent the Pathfinder flip mat for the Planar Tavern. So this is a couple of taverns in some unusual locations. So we have, I think it's called Elysium. Or Elysian, which I think they're kind of like Fey-based plane. So you got like the treetop kind of thing here, and then you also have one that just takes place in the pits of hell. So you got like the Sea of Fire, and then you also have the podium or the dais there, which could be a place where souls are tormented or sacrificed, or it could be where like some sort of fiendish bard likes to perform from. So really cool map. They also sent along the third installment of the Bloodlord's Adventure Path, Field of Maidens. So I will be doing videos on this adventure path relatively soon. Pathfinder has always done really well with their adventure paths, but this one, for the second edition ones that I own, this one might be my favorite one so far. And I'm a little bit biased because undead are some of my favorite creatures. And this adventure path does revolve heavily around undead. So I'm, fully admitting bias here, but I'm really looking forward to this one and, doing some videos on it. And hopefully we'll get a chance to run it in the near future. They also sent along the final thing from Paizo. This video is the Lost Omens Travel Guide. This book is awesome. The Lost Omens books are just really great world building, like flavor rich books. And this one is just fantastic. It covers things like the passage of time, like how different cultures and societies with their different calendars or different methods for tracking time. It covers some things like fashion trends among different walks of life. Like you have the more rural areas and sort of their more plain or simplistic fashion. You have like metropolitan and some other types of stuff in there, which is just, again, you will probably never use it in a game, but it's the kind of flavor that is just fun to read. And you know what? If you just describe, if you want to describe somebody, and you can just take a look at the picture and describe their clothing, or kind of if they go to a different location, you can sort of discuss some of like the fashion trends, stuff like that. So it's just a cool level of detail that you may not use, but it's still going to be fun to read. And it's kind of presented like it is an actual like travel brochure put out by someone to help you move, sort of find your way around different societies. It also even covers some stuff like some basic trade route information, showing some of the routes, as well as some of like the trade goods, stuff like that. Just a really awesome book. And the Lost Omens. The Lost Omens product line is just some of my favorite RPG books, period, just because of how rich they are in detail, which is something that I absolutely adore. So that was the offerings from Paizo. The next item here I have already shown on video. I've already done my unboxing and early impressions video, but I still want to have it in the pickups video, and that is the 5th edition starter set, the Dragons of Stormwreck Isle. This is the replacement, the updated starter set, replacing the 2014 one. Some people are upset by that, but it was 8 years ago. Like, really, it was 8 years ago. So they've also kind of changed the way that they present some creature stats and things like that as well. So I totally understand the need to have a starter set that conforms with the way that they present things like spell casting creatures or NPCs nowadays. So I have no problem with that. I still will say that the Essentials kit is far better for a starter set. It's better value for your money. But the Isle of the Dragons of Stormwreck Isle, the actual module itself, is not bad. I haven't done my review video on it yet, so I'm not going to go too deep into it. I will say that you will get $20 worth of entertainment and value out of this if you run the adventure. You can probably get a couple sessions, a couple of like 4 to 6 hour sessions to get through the module. And you know what? 8 to 10 to 12 hours of gaming, that's worth $20 to me. But overall, still a step backwards from the Essentials kit. And the Essentials kit is still definitely the way to go. But this is also meant to be like your introduction to D&D, so I get that it's a bit more simplified and has a little bit less going on, a little bit cheaper to help with impulse buys, because this was originally a timed Target exclusive. It's okay. It's a middle of the road product. That's my statement as of now. The adventure is okay. It's may not replace Lost Mine of Phandelver, but it's $20 worth of adventure at least. I will give it that much. And I will do my full review in a little bit. So my opinion still may change. I haven't fully read through the adventure yet, but right now it's okay. Up next is something that I've also shown on camera before, but I want to have it in a pickup video. This is the 40th anniversary limited run reprint of one of the earlier editions of Call of Cthulhu. I want to say this is either first or second edition of Call of Cthulhu, but this was something that Chaosium did a Kickstarter for the 40th anniversary of the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. And the Kickstarter was obviously successful and funded, and they produced copies based off of what they got for the funding from the Kickstarter, but they had leftover stock after fulfilling Kickstarter rewards, as well as like taking some stuff to conventions and things like that. So this is one of those things that once it's gone, it's gone. At least they say they're not currently planning on reprinting it. Who knows? They might do something in 10 years' time with the 50th anniversary. I would be surprised if they didn't. But yeah, this is really cool. This is the 1-inch set, and it basically reproduces the original box really, really well. You've got some like the old style artwork there. It's just really, really cool. I'm going to keep this sealed. It's more of just a collector's item for me. at this point. They did, now they, before, like if people get upset by that, I will say that I can still use the rule set if I wanted to run it. So like it's mine to do what I want with, but because I ordered this off of the Chaosium website, they do also give you a free PDF of all of the contents in the box, including the 1980s Chaosium game product catalog. So I can still have full access to the rules. I can run it. I can use the character sheets and everything from it. But I still want to keep the actual box sealed, and just it's a collector's item. That's why I ended up buying it. I think there's still some available on their website. They have the 1-inch version, which is what I have here, which is just the core rules. There was also a 2-inch version of the box set, which included a selection of really well-known and well-regarded scenarios. And I really was tempted to get that one, but it was like $100 and something Canadian, whereas the 1-inch set was only about $50 Canadian. And I refuse to spend more than $100 on anything in my collection, and I've stuck to that for 20 years, and I'm not going to change that now. So that's also why I won't be getting the the Temple of Elemental Evil Original Adventures Reincarnated set, because it's going to be over $100 Canadian. So yeah. Anyway, love the Call of Cthulhu set though. It's displayed on my shelf, and I absolutely love it. So another thing that I have here, I went to a local game store in the South Shore area. I think it's called Lancelot Games. Really awesome place. You know, it's cool to see game stores opening up in a part of the province that I never thought that they would. And they've been there since, like, they opened up pre-pandemic, and they're still there. So I'm really, really happy with that. Whenever I go into the store, I try to get something. And what I ended up getting this time was the Nolzar's Marvelous Pigments Undead paint set. So they had a couple of the paint sets there. They had like the heroes or player character adventurers paint set, which had like a mini of Dritz in it. I've got a few Dritz minis already, so I decided that like that wasn't a priority for me. But what I didn't have was a miniature for a Sararak. And he's the one that is included here, even though it is the 5th edition reformed full-bodied Sararak Lich and not the Demi-Lich that we had back in the day, which, you know, it's fine. I don't mind. I personally prefer a Lich over a Demi-Lich, so I'm happy that they kind of brought him back that way. But yeah, really, really cool. It comes with a collection of actual like paints designed for miniatures, like the war game or the war paints, I guess is what they call them. It's a separate product line. And I've never had these types of paints before. I've never worked with them. I've never so much as dipped a paintbrush in any of those like high quality paints. I've always just used stuff from the dollar store. And, you know, I'm not a skilled painter. I do have actually the last mini that I painted. I never did get around to finishing the base, so I really need to do that. But this is the Green Dragon miniature. Also a Nolzar's Marvelous Miniature product here. Let me just move this out of the way, because I tried this earlier and I wasn't focusing very well. But this is, you know, again, I'm not an artist. I'm not a skilled painter. This was the first time I painted a miniature. Well, that's not true. I did paint a couple of miniatures a few years ago. But it was the first time in a few years that I painted anything. And before that, it had been like 15 years since I painted anything. But I think this turned out okay. For what it is, for what I can do, and what materials I had in my possession. So this is what I did with the dollar store paints. Again, it's not fantastic or anything, but I'm happy with it. And so I'm interested to see how much better, and I know they're going to be better, but how much better the war paint set is going to be. I also got a couple of brushes to go along with it. These are Army Painter brushes. So we got the War Gamer. I don't know why, I guess the names are just for the sizes, but you got the Psycho, which I didn't realize that was the name. It's just a fine tip brush. I'm not going to take the protector off here. And then we got a bit of a larger brush for character. But these have a larger handle. And when I was at the store, when I went to pick this up, the person at the counter had stated that if you are someone who has a bit of a, stability issues with your hand, then these brushes are a lot better. And I did find that when I was painting the Green Dragon, that my hand was not as steady as it used to be. So I think these will come in. I think these will come in really handy. They look like they're good quality brushes, so happy to have those. And yeah, interested to try to get back into doing some painting at some point. Don't think I'll do it on camera just because trying to do that reaching around a tripod is going to be an absolute nightmare. But yeah, cool stuff. Up next, last three things that we have here all came from DM's Guild. These were all print-on-demand items that are currently available on their website. The first one I did also already show in a video. This is the Silver 25th Anniversary edition of Return, or not edition, but the 25th Anniversary product line for AD&D back in the day. 1999 is when this would have come out. We have Return to Keep on the Borderlands. So I'm going to be running a second edition campaign in the very near future. And I'm really looking forward to it because I want to have a good experience with second edition. And for years, I had a pretty negative opinion of second edition. And it wasn't until I started kind of looking back on things and did, just shared some experiences, on YouTube here, that I realized that, I don't think I disliked second edition as a game. I just had bad DMs or bad groups that just were not helpful for people beginning and just didn't create a very welcoming atmosphere, a very fun atmosphere. So I want to have a really good, just fun experience with second edition. And I think that'll happen now with the group that I currently have. It's guaranteed that it's going to be a great time. But yeah, I wanted to go with something that Roll Stats is in my gaming group, and he loves the original Keep on the Borderlands. So this is something that I'm sure he has this or has probably already run this more than once, but I don't care. I'm going to run it and I'm going to enjoy it. But I wanted to get something that I think he would enjoy, and just something that I always wanted to have, because Keep on the Borderlands is a very iconic module. And I have some versions of it already, and I wanted to get this for a while now, so I'm glad that I finally decided to pull the trigger. Speaking of which, I also picked up the second edition AD&D Forgotten Realms Draconomicon. So this is another print-on-demand from DM's Guild. It is a scanned copy, but it's very, very, very clear. I've never had any issues with the clarity of the print on any of the items that I've picked up from DM's Guild. I know I've seen comments of people having issues with it, but I think those were also older versions that they had done and had since redone or got a better quality scanner. I don't know what it is, but it looks really, really good. The only thing that didn't turn out super great was the Draconomicon name on the title page or on the cover here, and that's because it was done in gold leaf. So it actually had a gold reflective lettering that obviously when you're running a scanner over it, it's gonna do that. So it's fine. I can still read it, and at the angle that I'm holding it now, where I'm sitting behind the camera, it looks really good. And you do have Draconomicon on the spine there. So yeah, I did a video kind of showcasing different iterations of Keep on the Borderlands. I want to do that for Draconomicon as well, because I have this one now, as well as the 3rd edition book, the 4th edition books, and the 5e Dragon book as well. So I kind of want to do a video on that in the very near future as well. So another thing that I was really happy to add in my collection. And finally, we've got the 3.5 Rules Compendium. This was a late product for the 3rd 3.5 line. 4th edition had been fully announced by the time that this came out. It was a year away by the time that this came out. And unfortunately, the quality of a lot of the products that Wizards was releasing for 3.5 around the time that this came out was also questionable at best. This was around the time that I just was kind of giving up on actively collecting for 3.5. And this was one of the books that I just decided that at the time I didn't need. Because it's a collection of rules for 3.5. But, naive me from 2007 was just if I need to look up a rule, I'll just grab a book off my shelf and be able to do that. Which on paper is fine. But you know what? There's a lot of different books that may have rules or new explanations of mechanics or things along those lines that, as I would kind of come to later realize, is that constantly having to pull 30 books off of your shelf to run, an average 3.5 session just wasn't going well for me. So this was a book that I kind of regretted not getting, not right away, but eventually it's like, you know what, I really wish I would have picked that up. And having gotten back into 3.5 recently, it just kind of hammered home more and more that, you know what, I really would love to have this book now. Getting it on the secondary market, though, is insane. Like, there's some ridiculous prices that they're charging for 3.5 books. So this recently became available on DM's Guild or Drive-Thru RPG, and I snatched it up immediately. And if you're looking to get into 3rd edition or give 3.5 a try, they did recently add all 3 of the core rule books, and they are the 2013 reprint editions, or 2012 reprint editions. And so they'll have things like the errata incorporated into them. They also have a description of the polymorph, the final version of polymorph for 3rd edition. So if you're looking to get into 3rd edition, then I would recommend going the print-on-demand route, if just in case the prices on like eBay or stuff like that are just a little bit too high. The core rule books might not be that bad, but the Rules Compendium was definitely one on the more expensive side. And I think it's another one of those situations where it was a late release, and I think a lot of people just kind of passed on it at the time. And I was like diehard wanting to collect as much as possible for 3rd edition, specifically 3.5. And the fact that I just decided to pass on this one, if I did it, I'm sure others did as well. Maybe not everybody, obviously, but I'm sure that there were others that just kind of got tired, fatigue, for the amount of stuff coming out for 3.5. But this is an awesome book, you know what? And if you're looking to get into 3.5 in 2022, this is something that I would almost recommend as not necessarily essential. The core rule books are all that you really need. But if you were to go beyond that, the Rules Compendium, if I were to redo my 3rd edition Buyer's Guide, 3.5 Buyer's Guide, this would be ranked pretty highly on the list because, like I said, it's sort of a near final version of many of the rules, so it might have some clarity in the text and the way that they describe things. There's also some things that they have in here, like articles on just sort of what went into designing specific rules, or what the game designers were their thought processes were when they were creating these back, when they were creating 3rd edition 3.5. So this is just a really great book, and it was one that I was missing, one that I felt like I was missing, and one that I'm super glad to have here again. Anyway, so that's my more recent acquisitions for just gaming stuff in general. So again, I just want to thank everyone for their support, their understanding, their kindness when I said I need to take a little bit of a break. So yeah, it really does. You have no idea. I don't think people really understand just how much a little bit of positivity can really make a difference for some people, and that made all the difference in the world. I'm not gonna lie, I was relatively close to considering just throwing in the towel altogether for YouTube, but I took a little bit of a break, and I'm glad I did. I'm glad I'm back, though. I did miss it, and like I said, there were some really nice comments that made me that just helped. That just helped my mental state. So I can't thank people enough for that. Anyway, that's the pickups. That's the video. Thank you guys again very much. It means the world to me, and I will see you all next time. Until then, take care.